Perfect. So let's do this.
All right, let's dive in. Nystrik, why don't you take us away? What are we going to be talking about this week?
Well, you kind of ruined it by
Did
starting
I?
us off with our nullsec stuff.
I just made a brief mention
I
as
know.
why
I'm
we were
sorry.
Ruined the
doing
flow.
So let's start
Let's
with
roll
that
with
then.
it.
So the one of the bigger things, N3 lost a system this week to the CFC. That was
Yes.
exciting. Laz, you want to tell us what went down?
Yeah, they lost R-Z OUI or OUL is the entire system name. But we had been reinforcing it for the past like week and a half, and on Sunday it came out of reinforced, and they used carriers to wrap it up and save it. But it came back out of reinforced Tuesday. Yeah, no, Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday.
The 28th.
Maybe it was Tuesday. Hold on, let me look at my calendar.
28th.
Yeah, it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday. We're good.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Wonderful, you guys have
But yeah,
figured
so
out the dates.
it came out of Reinforced Wednesday, and Initiative and some of the Northern CFC and Southwest CFC guys brought fleets over, and we took it, and the 8-hour SOV dance happened, and it wasn't actually contested. So even though we claimed SOV in it, and they had 8 hours to actually kill our TCU, they didn't form a single fleet to actually come and attack it.
8 hours.
Oh. So they just
I guess they were just broken, or they just gave up, or
I don't know. I mean, today they had some pretty good fleets. NC Dot deployed over, and they.
Well, there was a fight on the 30th where N3 and CFC clashed, and N3 like decimated.
Oh yes, that fight was in 94 FR.
Yeah,
And
41 billion ISK lost on CFC
it was mostly
side.
like a combination of there were 2 CFC fleets there. I guess 3 if you count a small Harpy fleet we had. It was mostly an Initiative Tempest fleet issue fleet and a Space Monkeys Alliance Ishtar fleet. There apparently were some errors, and they lost 41 bill versus I think 20 bill. There has been a change in this area because we've been farming fights and things like that have been happening out there. But on Monday of this week, NC Dot actually deployed from Aquarius and their home base down there out to Curse, I believe is where they're basing, to intervene in all of this. So now interesting things are happening politically because NC Dot has moved away from home being Aquarius and the Delve territory, and their assets as well in Paragon, Sol, and Period Basis. And now you're starting to see sort of a reaction from that. They left home, and just yesterday, I think, the Southwest CFC decided that they were bored and reinforced 6 super capital assembly arrays
Oh my goodness.
in that area. And I believe a group that doesn't formally exist, that being the Reavers, is actually going down into that territory shortly to wreak havoc because somebody has left their home undefended. Which
Well, isn't that
typically
what
works out
happened
well.
last time? Last time N3 left their base, the Reavers did the same thing, so N3 pulled back. Did they
Yeah.
not? So then now they're doing it again, and history, very short history, is repeating itself.
Right.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, this is one of the challenges that people face in Phoebe because alliances get bored and want to have content, and so they deploy away from home looking for something to blow up and fight to get fights. But if you deploy away from home and you still want to be building super capitals, you leave your home undefended, people are going to immediately attack what's vulnerable. So it's going to be interesting to see the dance that happens between defense and offense there.
Well, I mean, all of Eve right now is kind of lighting up a bit. You've got a lot of random fights in a lot of places. You got Black Eyes, Amencia. Well, Amencia is not that surprising. Esoteria, again, not that surprising. But they've been pretty spread out, and they've been really high, like, ISK losses in total. Like, you've got a 91 billion ISK fight. I think that was the one in Black Rise. 51 billion ISK fight. I don't remember where that one happened. 62 bill in Esoteria. Just tons of ISK and ships being thrown all over everywhere trying to generate content right now, which is kind of exciting.
Then the Nulli Secunda's meeting started at 2100 as well, which was 50 minutes ago. So,
Oh dear.
So we should see the culmination of that meeting here in a little bit.
That'll be
That'll
exciting.
some copy for TMC. I'll have to ask our spies to see whether there's anything even vaguely relevant to our interests there. But no, it's curious to me because there have been a lot of very large fights in the last week. but most of the big ones have not been particularly consequential. Like there'll be these DBRB wipeouts where a boat will come in and just use a wave of bombers to just wipe a fleet of heavy assault cruisers off the map. But in terms of actual strategic impact, it's kind of a snooze fest.
According to K-Color, Nulli Secunda have moved to HHQ, which is in Esoteria.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Very interesting.
So, I mean, that's a clear aim to defend against the Russians coming out of Stain, because Esoteria is typically a staging area. This is like, you get to watch real-time Mittens like churning through strategic implications, like how my little brain
Well, this
works.
is the meta show. This is what
It
the show's
is.
about. So
It
let's
is
do
as
it.
meta
Let's
as it gets.
speculate.
Okay, so Nulli goes to Esoteria. They're looking out against the Stain Rus, who are bored coming out of the January Russian holidays. The Russians are looking to probably get feisty. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of targets that NC isn't going to be able to cover because NC just went to Curse. And the Southwest CFC has started hitting Delve and surrounding area assets. So Nulli is going to be asked to cover both the Russians and to try to fight against the Southwest CFC. But that makes... Where were they deployed before? They'd been showing up for some of these MNC fights,
they were in C9, I believe.
They were still staged in Impasse, right? Or what? Wait, C9...
hold on, let me...
Was it Impasse or was that Faith Habilis?
I don't remember.
Because for a while there, they had moved to a central location in Impasse to try to defend their territory after Phoebe. I mean, it's an okay
C9
move.
is Esoteria is where C9 then.
So they had already been in Esoteria, and now they're just redeploying to a different place in
Right,
Esoteria.
they're moving closer.
To Stain.
Right.
Why would you even bother doing that? Okay, well, whatever. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, well, I mean, so you can only move your forces like once every couple months, right? Ideally speaking, like unless you're an alliance where you're just founded upon moving around rapidly. But even the ones that rapidly redeploy, like Pandemic Legion, don't do it too often, right? Because you want to, if you're going to make a move, it's got to be a big thing because your troops have to slog, schlep all their crap from point A to point B, and it's just a big pain in the ass.
Doing stuff with
they dropped a station in C9, and I just completely screwed that up. There we go.
What did you completely screw up? Oh god.
I just swapped my Skype screen to one that K-Color K-Color sent me a message on Skype, and of course I clicked it. Yes.
Oops.
All of our secret things. It's nice because now I actually have set things up where I can see what's happening when I'm running my mouth here on a slight delay. I've got the stream running out the window. So sure enough, I don't think you gave away anything OBSEC. I think you're
No. They dropped that station at HHQ like a day ago, according to Dotland.
Well then, all right, that's interesting.
Well, good for them, I guess. They're gonna have a lot of interesting things on fire in their territory to run around and clean up after. But yeah, I mean, in general, like not too much territory is getting traded hands. I mean, I think that this might be a chance for a subtle segue into another topic of interest, which is a lot of the people who make the calls in nullsec are sort of waiting to see what the hell CCP is going to do with the supposed SOV revamp that was discussed at the CSM summit.
But when under heavy NDA.
That is under extreme NDA, like maximum NDA. So what's curious to me about that is last week when we did the show, we had kind of a thing going where we saw the minutes of the third day of the CSM summit live. Like they came out, we looked through them, we're like, there's nothing here. And the stuff with SOV, the only pieces of data that they gave us in the minutes that anyone can chew over, 2 points. One, that they want to make it such that you can't have single target HP grinds anymore. Like the current system where everybody gangs up on one target, like an SBU or an iHub or a station, and fights at one point. And they say that they want to spread fights out further, like across a constellation. Did they actually say constellation in the minutes? I think that was the phrase that
I'm not
spread
sure.
further out across a
Well, I think they're going to try to keep as much of it secret as possible until FanFest. I think that's going to be the big reveal at FanFest is going to be SOV.
For sure.
If they actually wait until FanFest to do a big soft reveal, that's going to be incredibly foolish. Like they need to get the one thing that has been nice about the 6 week dev cycle. I mean, there's a few things that are nice about it, but they've been pretty good about like getting feedback and features and ideas, questions posted to the community, and give people a chance to say, look, this is dumb, or look, this is great, depending upon how things go.
Well, I mean, last FanFest they did industrial stuff at FanFest, and
God.
yeah, and I know some indie industrial people are super stoked about it, but I mean, that doesn't really make a splash. The Sov changes would be more of a splash that they could do at FanFest, and that's what you do with these type of player gatherings.
I wouldn't imagine. Yeah, I would imagine that they like, as much as I don't want to wait for FanFest, I really don't. Like, I want to know what's going to happen now.
Well, it's only 6 weeks away, so
still way too long.
Okay. 6 weeks away is kind of scary. You know, it's interesting to me that the industry expansion was featured at the last FanFest. We have a plan when we talk about what we want to discuss on the Meta Show, and we have a nice little bullet-pointed Word doc here. And now I'm going to go completely wildly off the charts because that just sort of naturally brings into a discussion of FanFest.
That physically hurts me.
I know it does. It literally, like, it pains Nystrik because we're doing it live. We can't be constrained by
I had this huge list of things we're going to go over today, but now I just gotta fucking throw that shit.
Excellent.
Done.
So basically, like, FanFest this year is going to be interesting. Like, one of the things that we've noticed on Twitter the last couple of days, I think I mentioned this on the last Meta Show, is that it looks like CCP is bringing a much smaller press pool this year. Now, the editor of Kotaku UK, I always mispronounce Kotaku because it's a weird, funky name, Keza McDonald was posting about how she wasn't on the fly-in list this year on Twitter. And she opined that it was probably because they didn't like what she covered last year, which was a lengthy piece about gender as it related to the MMA fights that were going on. Now,
any harder than in the back of my head.
Now, regardless of whether you think that it was a good article or not a good article, and I don't want to get into any of the politics of that at all, but think about it like this. We're talking a few seconds ago about how FanFest last year had kind of an presentation because the big feature that they talked about was an industrial expansion, which, like, in the case of some of us, like, literally put us to sleep in the middle of the FanFest.
Yeah,
keynote.
it was pretty bad. I mean,
I have been to a million FanFest keynotes. They're usually very exciting. They have lots of nifty things going on. The industry thing was a snooze fest. But you have this weird sort of action-reaction chain of causality between CCP flies in a zillion media people every year and hopes that they write nice things about the game and spread the game. And then they put on this presentation about really arcane, just terribly boring industry crap. That even the players couldn't get excited about. I mean, the year before that, they showed the missile turret animations, and everybody, like, freaked out and, like, leaped up screaming, and it was amazing. It was like, oh my god, we finally got missile turrets. Look how cool that is. And the press was like, oh, well, we don't understand any of this missiles turret nonsense, but the players are really excited about it. Like, these people are crazy, but wow, missiles are a big deal.
Man, I'm gonna let you finish, but I just wanted to say that my girl Borox just subscribed, so thanks, man. Thanks for the subscription. Thanks for helping support the stream, buddy.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, Borox. So we the missile thing. So, like, this last year, they bring in the press. They're looking for the normal thing. What they get instead is the media is confused and bored, and the players are bored by the industry thing. And so the press runs around looking for something that will actually push page views, right? And so what pushes page views? Columns that are controversial about gender and MMA fighting, which either you agree with or it gets you angry, and then you hit F5 or you angrily comment about it, or you go to your friends going, oh, I'm really angry about this thing, and it gets a ton of views. Or stories about the monument getting scratched, or PR errors where the new producer of one of your titles says that the game sucks, and that becomes the headline of the headline coverage about your new game.
Yeah, there was really no big articles about last year. I'm trying to think of what pops up. I mean, like the MMA one kind of was the only big one that I can think of. Like,
yeah.
Then,
it was
2 years ago.
The monument scandal coverage was the thing, and it was Sean Decker, I think, was the guy saying that no, I don't think it was Chandler or somebody else. I forget. But there was one big headline piece about the Project Legion announcement, and like it basically said this project sucks.
If you look like Fanfest like 2 years ago, I think it was, where they did the moon rebalance and everyone was just super stoked, everyone getting back into the game because nullsec just completely got revamped basically because money moons are just completely shifted.
Right.
And
Also, Kesper North just subbed.
Oh,
Thank you to
thank you,
him.
Kesper.
And he also made a comment, said at Mittani she is, but CCP PR lagged out on notifying her in regards to the chick from Kotaku you were just talking about.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's what he just said. Not sure if true or not. I'm not sure, but that's what he said in chat.
Maybe I should post on Twitter. Maybe I should post on Twitter that they're not flying me out.
That is an
let me play my spin
interesting
zone warning right there.
One of the things that people are noticing, and if you've tried to make FanFest arrangements and you're in the chat, please say something about this yourself. But Laz and I were booking our flights, and we noticed that the price was essentially twice what it was in every other year that we've wanted to go to Iceland.
Yeah. My flight's usually $650 from whatever connector to Iceland, and this year it's $1150 just to get to Iceland, not including my connection flight inside the US.
Oh my god. That's awful. I'm so glad that I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, they basically, the prices got doubled, and we were wondering around, like, why is this? And then we realized that it had happened because they scheduled FanFest to go along with an eclipse. So everybody is going to Iceland who would be like an eclipse tourist or something, because that's like a big event, is also jamming up the plane. So if you want to go to FanFest this year, at least so what we've seen, coming from at least from JFK and Boston, it's ludicrously expensive. Maybe if you were smart and booked your tickets like many months ago or something, it's entirely reasonable.
CGP is purging the pores.
Oh, okay. So Casper actually has this to say. He says the price has doubled because more people bought tickets early, one, and the people are using it as a midpoint to get to the Faroe Islands to see the eclipse total. That's
your webcam just froze.
Your webcam froze.
Really?
It's actually quite a nice caption.
Yeah, so you just move it, fine.
I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to have that happen. How does that even work? Okay, so yeah, it did. I can see that.
Now you're just a loading circle.
The Blue Dock, the 99 airfare to Iceland doesn't start till May. So that's the first thing I speculated was that was maybe Iceland Air is trying to milk as much money out of the things as possible.
I don't know why. Can you actually hear me? I have no idea why suddenly I'm a circle.
You're fine.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're fine. You're back.
There we go.
Okay,
Okay, that was
right,
just
yeah,
Skype being. Oh, wonderful! You got a chance to see me turning around at my other computer and looking confusedly at it, like, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, so yeah, FanFest is going to be interesting. I mean, hopefully, from a media perspective, we'll have more to chew on. I can't exactly blame CCP for not flying everybody and their brother out if it's going to cost that much to get you out there. Yeah. The media stuff has always seemed a little unusual to me because, they get a ton of people out there. Of course, there's fewer people in general this year because several, they just shut down Joystick and Massively.com the other day. So that will be interesting. I'm hyped for FanFest. It'll be nice to go out there, and I think this year I'm going to be spending more time with my boys rather than schmoozing with media people. But
that's because you dumped it all on me, asshole.
I did. You volunteered.
Wow.
Laz is all excited to go to FanFest and interview devs on live TV with a video. We'll either GoPro it and put it up on YouTube. But Lazarus motherfucking Tellraven, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the primary TMC video correspondent at FanFest, and we're going to be very pumped to see whether the gravitational field induced by his massive round head sucks him in.
Holy crap. Your camera just shut off and completely fucked up the screen regions.
It did. I watched the little blue light on the camera fade out to nothing.
Everybody panic!
I have no idea why. I think this is just Skype doing it. Anyway, So let's see what we were going to be talking about. We're talking about the CSM. Well, the CSM elections are starting now. Like people are allowed to announce their candidacy formally. Not like that really matters because people have been announcing their candidacy for ages now. So we don't really have anything new to report. The CFC candidates, at least from Goonswarm, as everybody who watches this knows, are Scion again. Scion Kumitomo, who made a name for himself in the recent photographs of the CSM published from Iceland of looking like one of the two adults in the room.
the one to it.
Well, it was him and Corb. It was a funny photo that Manifest posted, where they did like a CSM selfie or something, and the two like people who did look the most like adults in the photo were Scion, who had a rather dour expression, which I'm sure that some people might be mulling over, and Core Blood Brothers, who is a Dutchman from Providence, and he also looked less than pleased. Oh, that's not the appropriate image we want to have up there.
What did we put up there? I'm scared.
We briefly put a picture of me in a wizard hat on there. I think.
All right.
Oh, why don't we want that? That sounds fantastic.
That does sound a little bit
Oh,
less
I
than
remember
ideal.
this.
We now have video back from the Mittani guys.
What could possibly go wrong?
Oh. There we go.
All right. There we
Okay.
go. Lovely.
We're good.
Oh my. Anyway, so beyond that, like, I don't really have much to say about the CSM. Like, it's gonna happen. We have a couple of people. It'll be curious to see whether there's any real competition for it this time around. Like in the past, there's been a huge scuffle to get people on the CSM. I think PL is running like 4 people, like Manny, Bamstroker, Xander Fina is running, and possibly somebody else. So
Was it Marlona Sky? I thought someone said that Marlona Sky for N3 was for
oh
NC
my
Dot was
God, really?
That's I heard. I saw that in Illuminati earlier that Marlona Sky might be running.
The
That is interesting.
Why the reaction? I feel like there's something I don't know.
Marlon Sky is a particularly curious candidate, and it'll be interesting to see whether he succeeds and whether NC is going to be rallying behind him or what. But it would make for some amusing fireworks, I think, to see him and everybody else in there. So that's
Okay.
really all I'm going to say. That said,
That's
there's
fine.
there's no politic way of saying it. I think that they'll have. It'll be an interesting group of people going to Iceland if that happens.
All right. So the other thing for like general
It's confirmed. I'm looking at his thread right now. He is.
There we go.
Yep.
So the other thing that we've got is there was an article on TMC about the EVE community coming together to raise money, which is for a sad cause, but seeing EVE people rally together is like they do is positive. But we're raising money for a cancer patient whose name I don't remember, unfortunately.
This is an interesting discussion to have when we have me with my wizard hat photo up there. This is kind of a sad story. On the one hand, it's sad. On the other hand, it is fairly heartwarming. Unfortunately, we noticed sort of randomly. I guess I'll just tell the story in sort of an anecdotal way because there's no real way to go through it without personalizing it. So I guess about a week ago, was it even a week ago? I think it was only like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days ago. Christ.
Yeah, no, it was like Tuesday, I think it was.
It was really early in the week. It was just a completely random thing that we did. I was looking through my Facebook feed. I'm actually going to bring up my Facebook now to check to see when I discovered this and was upset about it. So I was browsing my Facebook feed on January 27th, which is January 27th is Tuesday, right? The day before that, I guess, when I ended up posting this. I was looking at my Facebook, and a guy who I played games with for off and on for years, and he'd been in Goonswarm. In EVE, his name was Venus Vermilion. He hadn't played for like the last year, and I had no idea what was going on with him. Like I had just sort of fallen out of touch, no big deal. He was a big It was a big scammer in
Quit,
our.
quit, quit, quit hitting your mic.
Whoa, that was Nystrik, I think. I heard
Sorry.
Nystrik.
So on.
Sorry.
All right. Is my webcam still broken?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I have no idea why this is happening. I think it's just Skype being terrible.
It's fine.
Davius, I know. I mean, I'm pretty offended by that.
Yeah, because I can see it, like it's actually broadcasting my image there, just fine. Anyway, so the story. Let me actually get into proper storytelling mode, even though you can't see me. Just assume that I'm gesturing wildly with my hands because I do that and I'm Italian and I can't actually speak or tell a story without wild gestures. So I was browsing my Facebook and I noticed that this guy who I was friends with back in the day, gaming buddy, is not really incredibly close, but we were on Facebook together, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. And he had this update that his wife had posted on his Facebook, basically revealing that he had a very nasty form of cancer, and it was not really pitched. It was just a link to one of those GoFundMe fundraiser pages that
Right.
people will occasionally put up. And he had been hospitalized, and he was the breadwinner for the family. And they had two kids together, and she had to stay home and take care of them. So she couldn't work, and he couldn't work, and it was just a mess. They had posted the fundraiser at I think it had been like 2 weeks before this even cropped up on his Facebook. And it only raised, I think, about $600. They were asking for like $3,000.
Yeah, it was
And
3,000.
yeah, and I was looking at this and I was just like, I was in a bad mood. And then finding out that one of my older friends had, even if I had fallen out of touch with the guy, like seeing this, it just sucks, right? Like a couple years ago, I had almost lost my mother to cancer. And it's just a big shitty thing. It's like, fuck, like I wish there was something that we could do about this. And just shit, like, and I sat there in kind of like a funk. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Let's see what we can do. So just on a lark, they hadn't contacted me. They hadn't asked for any formal help. His wife has no idea what EVE Online is, no idea who Goonswarm is, no idea who I am, nothing. And we sent a broadcast to the entire CFC. We went to Twitter. Laz, I think, posted it on Reddit. And the EVE community really came together. I mean, it wasn't just like a Goonswarm or CFC thing. Inside of 24 hours, the EVE community working together managed to get more than easily more than $3,000. I think under the first 24 hours, it was over $5,000. And I checked just before the show went on that we have, as a community, managed to raise over $9,500 for Venus Vermillion and his family to help them through this,
That's
which is
fantastic.
just incredible. Especially because, it's just like one of those random acts of kindness, and we didn't, there wasn't a plan for it. There wasn't hey guys, we're going to get together and we're going to do this big fundraiser and let's spam broadcast or what have you. It was just, we sent a broadcast, momentum happened, the community came together. It wasn't planned, it wasn't asked for, and we managed to make a huge impact on the lives as a community of players. Not just on one of our own players who unfortunately hasn't been able to play in a while, but on his wife, his entire family, their children are going to have a much better place in their life situation because of a community formed about an internet spaceship game. And you really don't see that, I don't think, in many other communities. People complain about the tribalism of EVE, about how the conflicts are very nasty and how we fight each other and how we say mean things about each other. But when the rubber hits the road, the fact that our community is able to just snap our fingers and just make this huge positive impact on people's lives is very touching. I was kind of emotional about it the next day. I didn't realize it was going to take off. It was, like I said, just a random thing. I went to get coffee. I met my wife down at the university campus where she studies. I got coffee with her and I was a little shaky, and I'm like, I keep kind of tearing up off and on all day, and I'm not really like a normal like crying kind of guy. And I was just like, holy fuck, like this is just the most amazing, it's just amazing that we're able to do this, and fuck cancer. So yeah,
Yeah.
unpleasant thing, but it really is touching and emotional, I think, to see everyone drop their affiliations in internet space and come together to help one of our own. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you just go to the link and look at the donation comments, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna link the GoFundMe in chat if anybody here is interested in donating as well. You know, one of the things about this that's tough is one of the biggest advantages that we have. Wow, holy crap! Somebody donated $1,000.
Yeah.
Mother of God, that is
17
awesome.
hours ago.
It's fantastic.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where we're able to do these things for our community members because we have, as a player base, spent so much time working on community, right? Like, we spent so much time networking together. We're all connected on Jabber. We're connected on Facebook. We talk to each other all the time, even when we're not playing Eve. And that's the tremendous amount of effort and caring and relationship building that allows us as a community to sort of point our fingers and be able to channel that kind of assistance. You know, people who don't play this game don't have that kind of network. They don't have the connections. They don't have the ability to mobilize a community to a positive end. And it was just really nice to see our network of Eve kind of moving in unasked for and just fixing things. So that's good. Yeah, so awkward topic. Don't really like to talk about cancer. Hate cancer.
It's hard to talk about.
It's sad. It's shitty. But the fact that we were able to, you know, take a silver lining and rub that silver line and ram that silver lining up cancer's ass, I think is very nice. And hopefully Rob will recover. He was very animated when he first found out about the Eve community rallying together around him. And, you know, it's always nice to know that a community of people are there backing you up and that people care about you and that people remember you. He hadn't been playing the game since, you know, 2013, but, you know, our guys still remembered him and everybody came together. So actually, it's probably a good thing that you can't see my face because you can avoid getting the look of a teary, hyper emotional Mittens. So
Everyone wants that.
We'll hide behind the wizard hat.
We'll hide behind the broken webcam excuse.
Exactly.
So let's try to move away from the sadder topic.
Shall we talk about what do we want to talk about next?
Our last stuff is Tiamat and not that there's a whole lot to say about it, and the Jovian NPCs. So Tiamat is scheduled for release on February 17th. The only real exciting thing is the Minmatar Tech 3 Destroyer, which I'm super excited to get my hands on because I'm a Minmatar pilot. I hope I have the right skills for it. I actually don't know where to find out if I do or not.
How do we pronounce that anyway? Is it
Zful or something like that? Yeah, I mean,
that sounds like you're coughing something up, right?
pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's Icelandic, I think.
I couldn't tell you, but I mean, I don't know. There's not really a whole lot to say about it other than I'm excited to see how it works. I mean, the Amar one has done really well so far.
Yeah, the Confessor is really, really nice.
It's nice, and it's like we're not just like there was a lot of thoughts in the beginning that these ships would just be you fit it for one mode and there wouldn't be no switching while you're on a fleet going on, and that's completely opposite, which is just fantastic that that's how it is. So I'm really excited to get my hands on the Minmatar one and just take it
I flew the Confessor last week, I think. No, Tuesday on stream. I flew the Confessor, the 10-minute afterburner with beams, and it is crazy good.
So I'm hoping the Minmatar Destroyer is
well.
just
The Minmatar Destroyer release coupled with the artillery changes are going to make it like a really, really awesome Thrasher, and I'm super excited about that.
I'm really kind of curious to see what happens. I mean, in terms of looking at what we have in terms of Tiamat, there's the big like corporation management quality of life stuff, which impacts a relatively few number of players, but it makes a bigger impact on organizational design, makes it easier for alliances and corporations to like actually manage these massive entities that provide content for everyone. But you know, if we're going to be honest, the last two expansions have been kind of thin on the ground. I think that's just kind of a consequence of FanFest preparation, the holidays happening, and you know, people. You know, we hope, we presume that CCP is gearing up to have a big thing for the Sov revamp. I mean, presumably that'll be an
Jeez.
all hands on deck kind of event.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
I'm
nice.
hoping for some definitely ship rebalancing stuff at FanFest where we can go back to battleships online instead of Ishtars and Tech 3s online.
I mean, I don't want it to be all battleships though. Although I'm a little pissed that
No.
like right as I right as I was trained into battleships and was finally able to fly them, they made that change that just it was like that was not what you flew
Well, the
anymore.
big thing
That's
about
like
battleships is battleship versus battleship is extremely bloody, and the
yeah,
bloodier the fight, the better the fights. And
absolutely.
you get into the
And
fights now where you have 1,000 people fighting each other, and 30 logistics dies, and then the fight's over.
yeah.
I mean, having more variety would be excellent. Back in the day, we had a relatively high degree of doctrinal variety. The thing is that Eve, the competition is so fierce at the top level of the game in terms of the people who are theory crafting. Um, you know, so much of it is mathematical, right? Like the numbers are there or the numbers are not, which
Yep.
means that as the blocks clash in these battles on a relatively daily basis, um, what is a superior doctrine becomes clear, and you end up with a situation where everyone has run the numbers and come to the conclusion that in 90% of cases, throwing Ishtars and Tingus at the problem is the correct answer. You do Ishtars and Tingus, you support them with bombers, high fives all around, you're probably going to win. Particularly because in Phoebe, with the changes to power projection, which in general are nice to see, there are less capital clashes, right? People are leaving their caps mostly at home. You'll see the odd slow cat fleet. You'll see triage carriers in small numbers on one side or another. But in these subcap fights, there's very little reason not to just throw Ishtars and Tingus and bombers at everything. Um, and that gets tiresome. I mean, it gets really embarrassing when you see these battle reports where both sides are strongly incentivized to bring Tingus, and it's just three Tengu fleets clashing and blowing each other up. The only thing that they attack are logistic ships, typically. So some scimitar, like Laz was saying, scimitars die on both sides until somebody goes, "Oh crap, I don't have any logi," and then they bug out, and then that's it.
That's boring.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, I mean, one of the things that's been curious about these bombing runs that DVRB has been doing against N3 so much recently is heaven forfend that you screw up or you bring a slightly suboptimal Ishtar design or you make the terrible mistake of not even bringing Ishtars in the first place, like this Eagle fleet that just got vaporized just before the show happened. Um, you know, then you know you might be having more variety and having more fun in theory, but then you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're losing, which nobody likes. So yeah, more ship rebalancing would be great to see. Eve has such a tremendous variety in ships, and it's really just a shame that they don't, you know, we don't see that variety. The options are there, but so many of them are just suboptimal.
Yeah, I finally was able to. We did back when Alpha Fleet was a thing. Right as I was able to fly I don't remember the name of the battleship in that fleet doctrine. For the I know it's a Minmatar battleship.
The
I don't
Maelstrom?
remember. Yes, the Maelstrom. Thank you. Right as soon as I was able to fly it and fit everything, they were like, "Oh, we can't use this doctrine anymore." And I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, and that happened with Baltic Fleet too, because like we used Baltic Fleet for a long time, and then suddenly there was a shift, and then Megathrons became suboptimal, and you know it's not uh, handicapping yourself and playing below par. You don't get special credit for that in this game. Like you don't get
Yeah.
like, oh, congratulations, you get pats on the head, and unfortunately you can't see my little gesture of patting an invisible person on the head because my webcam apparently doesn't agree with Skype. Just imagine me making a sort of condescending pat gesture.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, the bulk
of
tech change was a little bit different because everyone swapped to Proteuses to counter kinetic thermal damage.
mhm.
But the actual Maelstrom change was because everything was swapping to Sig tanking and bombing. They're extremely vulnerable to bombs. And the Hugins, the webs that you need to kill Sig tank doctrines, are
Oh
very
yeah.
vulnerable.
That's when bombing became a big thing. I remember that.
I mean, bombing has been huge for a while, and it's
Yeah.
interesting
For
because
me, seeing it for the first
oh,
time,
right,
that
right, right.
was the
Well,
Maelstrom was on
that's
its way
when
out because of those fleets.
well, that's when IS boxing bombers were huge, like started becoming really popular. Was when we were flying Maelstroms, which hell, that was what 2 years ago.
Yep, it
Yeah,
was a
it's been a
while
while. It's been
ago.
maybe even 3 years. It's been a while
Yeah,
since we used mails.
Yeah, it'd be 3 years in a couple months actually,
huh.
because yeah, that sounds about
Well, and
right.
also the problem with the Maelstroms, and it's the same thing that's going to be issue with all the people running the TFIs right now, is battleship versus battleship. The artillery, a 14 artillery, cycles too slowly to be effective in nullsec warfare. Because once you have enough people, once you have enough battleships in your fleet where you're alphaing, even with like railguns or lasers, then your 4 second cycle time is going to be a lot more effective than the 18-second cycle time of artillery. So.
I just think one of the interesting nuances that we've been faced with after January 1st is that many people felt that bombers were going to be less of a thing, and in general, they are less of a thing outside of block warfare because since you can't use IS Boxer to run bombers anymore, you either have some sort of wacky specialized setup because you're just so cool with computers that you can do it, and I don't even understand how that works. I know one guy who can do multi-boxing bombers without using IS Boxer, but what's happened, at least on the CFC side, is that DBRB has done such an incredible job of leading these Bomberwaff groups and just nuking entire fleets of like 100 plus ships at a go that more and more people are saying, "Hey, I want to get 100 kill mills by pressing one button." And
Oh
so,
yes.
in terms of from a player engagement perspective, you have bombers having kind of a renaissance because individual pilots are now willing to have them be like fleets of actual humans running them instead of robots
Yeah.
or broadcasts. But it all is kind of a limit in terms of the variety that people can field, just because everything has to be able to eat an entire sandwich full of bombs.
Yeah, well, the fight today where the bigger boat bombed the Eagles, my Ishtar fleet actually got bombed by 3 separate fleets. They probably had 80-ish bombers in system,
Wow.
and we didn't lose the fleet at all. I think we lost one ship maybe to bombs, and then they lost 3/4 of their fleet to boat bombs, and then we used the Ishtars to clean up the whatever's left on field. But
It's a
it's
very high skill cap. I mean, that's one of the things is that there were a lot of, in terms of organizational practice, there were a lot of orgs, as I call them, because I'm a big nerd in Eve. A lot of like increasingly, if you listen to the meta show, you'll just learn all the dumb mittens shorthand ways of how I describe things. So there is a lot of orgs in Eve have relied on IS boxing bombers as kind of a crutch in order to, I mean, either they didn't have a developed bomber social squad or something, or they didn't have a military organization dedicated to it, like in the CFC. And so when that ability to just, use multi-boxing to outsource your bombing, essentially, when that was taken away, the skill gap that's revealed between organizations that didn't rely on IS Boxer and having an actual bomber. I mean, DBRB is a dedicated bomber FC. He has essentially only been doing bomber fleets for 6 months, maybe longer. That's my fault. And I'm very proud of that.
I was gonna say, it would help if you let him fly anything else.
Yeah, no, I kind of was a dick. I got unhappy with him at the time because there were some issues with larger ships, and I restricted him to bombers. And instead of trying to get back into bigger ships, he just took the bomber thing and ran with it. And he's really uncovered a genius for it. I shouldn't be saying these things on live TV because he'll
DBRB
get
needs an ego.
well, and
well,
in the past month or so, he's kind of put himself up there as the best bomber fleet or bomber FC in the game, at least with kill mills, and other people can claim to be it, but where's their proof?
Yeah, he's actually got the evidence for it. And,
So.
I actually want to talk about this a little bit here. I'm going to try to avoid talking about it a lot. But, people give DBRB a lot of crap. And the reason why I think DBRB is succeeding so well with bombers, where in other areas he's had some difficulties, has a lot to do with the rise of the logistics ship in Eve and the sort of risk-reward balance. We've talked about this a couple times. Back in the day, you could be a boat is incredibly aggressive. I mean, he seeks out kills, he wants kills, he will go for it, and he has that aggression, that high risk, high reward kind of playstyle. Now, if you do that with a battleship fleet,
You lose
in
your battleship fleet.
yeah, you exactly, and it's a huge loss if you lose that. Um, and also with the way that logistics work in the game, you can't just dive bomb into a hostile fleet and go down in flames, but also take the other guy with you. You used to be able to do that. When boats shifted over to bombers, it really rewarded the high risk, high reward gameplay style. If he if he takes the entire fleet and it dies in a fire, it's no big deal. But the aggression and the calculation and everything that he's done has been, he's clearly like hit some sort of skill threshold. Like he's just racking up, 100 heavy assault cruisers at a go, just like bam, bam, bam. In one case, it was like I think he nuked 3 fleets in 1 week. It was
Yeah,
nuts.
it was two
Yeah.
Ishtar two Ishtar fleets and a rattlesnake fleet.
Yeah, and who even kills like you're not supposed to be able to kill rattlesnakes with bombers, right? They've got a
Yeah.
massive EHP bonus to their resistances and shields. And that was so he's now doing things with bombers that you're just not supposed to be able to do with bombers. And it's great. I mean, he's flourishing, he's happy, he's killing fleets. His pilots are happy because they're pressing a button and nuking an entire fleet. And you're really seeing this skill gap on the field. And if it goes to his head and he loses a bomber fleet, it's no skin off my back because losing a bomber fleet is cheap.
At least
So
he's not losing supers or battleships.
Yep. All right. So that's my plug of Boat, and I'm giving him well-deserved props in front of everyone who's watching.
The last thing we'll talk about before we do like Q&A and stuff, you want to talk a little bit about the Jovian NPCs.
Okay. We were talking earlier about how FanFest might be a big Sov reveal, and I was saying that I hope it's not actually related to Sov, and that CCP comes out and talks to the player base and gets feedback in a normal sense about hypothetical Sov changes. Jovian stuff has started showing up on the CC and Chaos servers, and a guy named Ceramatico, who has a really nice YouTube channel, actually went through and data mined it. And found not just Jovian assets in the form of this battleship that they're calling what is it called? It is the Drifter battleship that was posted on Eve Now, and like one of those like piecemeal, we're revealing a part of the image every day. I'll link it in chat here so you guys can take a look. But also he found that there were assets for NPC bodies in the Incarna sense. Like there's actually like a Jovian body mesh. There's no actual like texture for it, at least what I had seen. But he has gone through and found this. So, it's possible if we're trying to intuit what CCP is up to, that like the big FanFest reveal will be either the Jovians invade, or you get to have playable Jovians or something. This is kind of like the trump card that CCP has had in their back pocket since the game launched. It's kind of like in case of fire, break glass, and deploy Jovians. And so, the game seems to be doing much better now. Like it looks like subscriptions, I have no idea, but it looks from PCU rates and engagement from the player base that the game is in a much healthier spot than it was a while ago because of the changes that CCB Seagull, Andy Nordgren, has been making. Things seem to have turned a corner.
Cool as shit.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so, in this case, maybe they're going to deploy the Jovians not because they need to in a break glass, herp to derp kind of sense, but because the player base has wanted it for a while. The ship designs are cool, and it's just give the players what they want, not rocket science. But it's cool to see, and that's we can all wildly speculate as to whether those are going to be rats, whether they're going to be a new playable race. Which would be amazing. I mean, if you could play as a Jovian, I imagine that every existing player would drop what they're doing and make a new Jovian account because,
Probably.
yeah, I mean, seriously, like that is, if you want to double, just a little bit of unsolicited business advice, if you want to double your incoming revenues for at least a short period of time.
You make it playable.
Yeah, you make a playable Jovian race, you announce it at FanFest, high fives all around. And next thing you know, your entire, you don't even have to grow your player base. Your existing player base goes, holy fuck, I want to play a Jovian. Give me some of that.
I need it. New account, sub, done.
Exactly. So that is, that's basically where I see that. we'll see what happens with that. But it's interesting to see them working on that, and I'm really excited to see what the art team, which is as usual best in class from CCP, can come out with.
So,
Do we want to do some giveaways? Do we think have we
well,
covered everything?
we've covered everything.
What do you guys think about the Jovian stuff? I just ranted there for a while. So
I mean, I agree with you.
I just want some cool new battleships.
Yeah, I like the ship looks fantastic. I think that's one of the coolest looking ships I've ever seen. When I first wanted to play Eve, my friend sat down with me and was like, "Here's a picture of ships. Pick one." And I picked it a Tengu, and I was like, "This one looks okay." And then now that I see this ship, this is what I want to fly. How do I get in this? What do I do?
What I want to know is, Laz, actually, since you're using streamer magic, you could actually potentially put a picture of the drifter up on the stream.
Yeah, I can do that.
But yeah, let's do that. Let's put that sucker up there real quick and just maximize it. It's got these weird little. I mean, it looks like these things that I at first were like. At first, I thought these things were bugs, but it looks like its turrets are floating in space. I'm assuming these are turrets. They look kind of railgunny, and it's just got guns or something floating off of it, not actually fixed to the hull of the battleship.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, those could be hard points, or they could be. I mean,
So cool.
there's no idea, but it just looks badass. I mean,
It
does look badass.
It's sleek and it's fancy. And is that the front on the top left there? Is that what it looks like from the what is that?
The thing on the front, on the top left, is I think the image
That's
of the
an
little
image of
floaty
the
railgunny
turrets,
things. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Whatever those
amazing.
are. I mean, it's not obvious what it is, and we don't know what sort of bonuses Jovians have. So, I mean, if CCP really wants to pull a rabbit out of their hat, what they could potentially do is, have an entirely. What if they had an entirely new class of weapons? I mean,
and
new ships,
before
new
those
weapons.
are all tractor beams for your salvagers in the high slots.
It's secretly just the biggest and best Noctis, and that's all. The
I
Jovians
fly
are
it.
pacifists, and they really just believe in they're indestructible, but they can only mine and salvage.
I'd still fly it.
Yeah, no, it is pretty badass. I mean, that's one of the things. No matter what you want to say about this game, it's ups or it's downs, but the CCP art is
Someone
really
just linked something in chat. It's a new weapon. It's an energy weapon. Lux Contus is energy weapon or something. Yeah, like someone posted a Twitter link from, which I'm guessing is just a data mine of it.
Wait a second. Let's drill into this. Hold on a second.
He can't link it now.
Well, no, I just clicked it.
Did you grab it before it deleted it?
No. If you click the delete thing, it actually shows you the link as a mod. If you
Oh.
use, yeah.
Look at
Okay,
that.
so that's interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead and post this, and let's see if I'll post this in chat here so people can see it, and maybe Laz can bring it up on the stream for everybody to see. So we don't know what this is. This is a Lux Lux Kontos Kontos, a 41-meter long energy weapon, which is the length of half of a football field, basically. And energy weapon. That is mysterious. We know it floats in space. It doesn't need a hard point because it uses floaty hard points to be successful, I guess. And yeah, that is fascinating stuff. I mean, this would make for all of this Jovian stuff would make for an amazing reaction from the crowd if they drop this in everybody's lap with a big sexy trailer on FanFest. I mean, I'd get up and cheer for this.
Yeah.
We have an untextured other images that we have here on his Twitter. We have a female Jove costume, untextured. Again, this is all shout outs to Sarmatico. I don't want to violate
Steals
his
thunder.
yeah, exactly. He has historically done a lot of work here in terms of finding interesting things on the Chaos server. So not only do we have a female Jove costume that he's found a male Jove costume. Now here's a question: are these just going to be costumes? Like you can buy something in the next store and like skin yourself as a fake Jovian? No, he has found skin type colors in the data, and they are sort of grayish, bluish, and that's really it, gray and blue.
Suddenly this show just got way more interesting, and that sounds fascinating. What?
No, I mean, this is great. I mean, this is exactly the kind of buzz and hype that, Eve has always been propelled in the last few years by these grand block wars, and we have, with the reduction in power projection, in terms of the big meta crazy stuff that people like me or Pro God Legend or Vince Draken or Manny or Elise get up to, there's not too much going on right now. Like there's not really any huge block wars to drive the Eve narrative. If they announce the Jovians, they've got weird new weapons that float in space that aren't like any of the other guns that anybody uses. Somebody said that the Jovian Drifter NPC has 2 shield layers. Either it doesn't have an armor layer or it just has a
That's
double
what I would
shield
assume
layer.
is no armor.
So like there's
I have shield skills. I'm a shield pilot. Bring it.
So like that's a really interesting series of things that they could release to add buzz and excitement amongst the player base. And then in each of these little 6-week expansions, you can reveal more and more about the Jovians and crazy crap they get up to. There is a image here on that this guy has found of a texture of, I'm not sure whether it's the male or female Jovian, but it's got a bunch of holes in its head for cybernetic stuff of some kind. This is fascinating. And I think Laz is going to be running around and posting these things on the stream for us to take a look at.
Hopefully we'll be able. Yeah,
whoa.
there's an animated GIF that someone just posted.
Whoa!
Is out of the stream.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Look at that. So
That's
it zooms in and zooms out and floats in space and
That's
Yeah. Pretty hyped right now.
yeah,
Not gonna lie.
What?
yeah. So this is one of those things where like they come out with this. So light lance or light spear says somebody is the Latin
Lance,
for
yeah.
it. A
Kantos,
light spear, a light
Kantos
lance.
is Greek. Lux is Latin.
Yeah, so everyone's helping us investigate right now.
Oh, this is sort of like a group hype experiment between us and the audience right now, trying to figure out what all of this crap is. This is interesting stuff. This is really interesting stuff. If they want to, this would be great. Like if they release an entire series of new playable like Jovian accounts or something with new weapon styles, new everything, as long as they're not ridiculously overpowered, OP, ridiculously over P. That would be a little
So
weird
it looks
slip of
like
the tongue.
It looks like they do have an armor layer as well. It was just
So they have 2 shield layers and an armor layer.
yeah. It's like the first shield layer is going to be like a super high resist, small amount of small like effective HP, but high resist, like kind of a small buffer.
Nuts.
Well,
And then
Ultram-
I'm assuming as the blue gets worn off, then it turns into a regular shield.
Yeah, Laz has that up on
Oh,
the
I
stream
see
right
what
now.
you're
It's
saying.
excellent.
Okay.
That's actually the nightmare scenario that Ultram just brought up, which is that it's not actually a gun at all, but it's a sentry drone, because clearly we need more sentry drones in EVE Online.
Parts of it should break off.
God,
That's how it does damage.
I need to level drone skills so bad. Oh my god.
It comes out that the Ishtar was actually a secret Jovian prototype, and that the Ishtar is really the way of the future, and that instead of having less Ishtars, we're now just going to have the Jovian equivalent of Ishtars, because since the player base uses Ishtar so much, that's obviously what we want more of
course.
Jovian sentry drones. Okay, well,
Sort of. I
act
mean,
like
that
doesn't
could be an
happen.
experiment.
So,
Yeah.
if people want to ask questions about things that we actually know stuff about, like if you ask us about this Jovian stuff, we can only speculate.
We can
so-
continue to wildly speculate. I mean,
But we don't actually
wildly
have any
speculate all day.
answers. So if you want to go ahead and ask questions, go ahead.
It is fun to wildly speculate, though, and we haven't had something to do wild speculation about with Eve stuff in a while, and it's refreshing to see, something buzzworthy, right? It makes my wallet hurt a little bit less about going to
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was thinking that. I was thinking that exact same thing you just mentioned. It just popped into my head. I was like, wow, kind of happy I booked those tickets now.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see Todd's link?
Let's take a look. Let's see what Todd's like.
It's a older screenshot
That's
of a
a
Jove
fancy
battleship.
looking.
That's actually really old screenshot.
That's one of
Really?
the
I've never
first,
seen
like,
that before.
2003.
Yeah,
That's
see,
pretty though.
that's pre the planets getting new graphics and all the
Wow.
nebula getting redone. I mean, that's
I'd fly that
old.
ship, whatever that is. I'll
That
fly
is
it.
old.
I like the fact. I mean, the art team has changed since then. So there's all of these old Jovian assets that only GMs could fly during like special events and stuff. that have been with Eve since it launched. What's interesting to me is to see what, the new art team, the modern 2015 era art team has been able to come up with in terms of their concepts and designs. Because, those guys have, they blew it out of the water. And the art style is obviously very different. The old school Jovian sort of pseudo-organic, almost Galente style ship, they look like plant roots, as opposed to this drifter thing, which just looks badass as all hell and so futuristic it doesn't need hard points. Yeah, that's cool. I want to fly one of those. Hopefully it doesn't end up being a Nestor. Here's a quick plug. Please, guys, fix the Nestor. Coming out with really awesome new art department ship designs and then bolting really terrible bonuses that nobody ever uses for anything onto such wonderful designs.
The Nestor has a singular purpose, and that is to go around with a fleet to be a refitting platform, because it's basically like a carrier where you can refit off of it. So that's the only purpose that people fly the Nestor, is for your fleet to be able to refit in combat.
I mean, the Astro, beautiful ship, amazing art department design, very useful. Lots of people use it. Stratios, beautiful ship, amazing art department design. Many people use it. And then we get to the Nestor, which, some people say it looks like a portable blender. Some people say that it resembles the, some of the old ships in 2001 and 2010 Stanley Kubrick films. But it would be nice if it was useful.
And like Schwa said, though, the all of these new ships and stuff that we're seeing all have a similar pretty much look. Like if you look at the Orthrus and this new battleship, the Drifter, they pretty much have the same shape, or the Confessor, the same shape. So maybe they're just
interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but sort of the overall kind of sharp and pointy. I mean, well, the Barghest sort of, you go Garmer to Orthrus, and then you get to the Barghest, which is basically like a couple of pancake pans flying around on top of each other. So that breaks that mold. We do have fairly, the similarity is just basic aerodynamics. Like they look more aerodynamic, even though they're in space and they don't need to be. But, I don't mind. It looks good. I would love to see Jovian ships with this style.
Because I just put the Orthrus up on stream, and
as long as it's pretty, right?
As long as it's pretty and like they don't tie the pretty to bad stats. I would love to see Nestors used in a practical sense. I like the look of them. I like all the Sisters of Eve ships in terms of their style.
We got blown up by Orthruses last night. That was fun.
Orthruses are amazing. They're like the most OP currently
we got
solo PvP kiting ship. Like if
if
you can. In fact, we gave away one on stream last week, and we'll give away. Let's give away 2 Orthruses, because we're just having a big Orthrus party today. Because instead of just giving you some random faction battleship as a giveaway that you might not use, everyone who can afford one should get a chance to run around with a rapid light missile launcher Orthrus and own face. They are beautiful, they are powerful, and you can take out a small fleet with one.
The big thing with Orthruses is if they don't have links, then they aren't very good. So it's required that you have actual skirmish links and shield links for them to actually be decent.
So
otherwise, they're not too awesome. So a word?
That's good to know.
So we need a keyword.
A keyword, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Keyword for today. I'll do 2 ones. Let's do all one word, fuck cancer. And then the next one will be a little bit more lighthearted.
And
this will
you guys can go ahead and
we're going to give away an Orthrus, and the keyword will be fuck cancer. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and once again link Venus for Millions GoFundMe. We started the show at $9,565, and now it's $9,595.
Nice.
By the end of the show, actually, we might actually be able to break it over $10,000, which would be
that's
absolutely
exciting.
amazing. I'm just going to run my mouth here a little about this. They live in Texas, and at the time when they were asking for $3,000 for the fundraiser, I think his wife, I don't think that they had any hope of actually achieving the goal with this fundraiser, and that it hadn't really gone anywhere. But in practice, considering what she said about their needs, I think that they need a lot more than $3,000, and I think that every little bit that we can give them, even though they only asked for 3,000, if we can break that over $10,000, I think that would just be an overwhelming message of support. And it's just from a practical perspective, I think that they're going to need it, whether they not they realized it. It probably seemed too aggressive to ask for a large amount of money if they didn't realize that they could get this kind of support. And I'm glad my webcam isn't working because I'm getting all emotional again.
I mean, I don't like. I'm not even like. I don't know who he is. And I mean, I have. I mean, obviously, the whole situation is just really sad, and reading the article made me sad. But like, I don't even know who he is, and I'm like, just the thought that people who can call each other shit posters and all other terrible names that I can't say on stream because it'll get us banned from Twitch on a forum, and then be like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Here, have my money. Please don't die. Like, it's amazing.
It's really nice. I mean, it's one of those things where, if we don't look out for our own, if we don't look out for each other, what's the fucking point? It's basically it. And it's, it's nice because it's a kind of a win for the entire community. It's a shitty situation, but, we can see that we can do good things besides just calling each other names and blowing up our spaceships. And I'm going to stop talking about this such that I don't cry on live TV because that would be pretty awkward.
Okay.
Now, the Reddit thread was actually like huge. It got a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an absolute, everybody on Twitter, everybody on Reddit, through a lot of these communities. I saw across actually our spy relays, we saw alliances that are hostile to the CFC sending broadcasts in support. And it's just really heartwarming. I mean, it restores your faith in humanity. Actually, Rob posted on my Facebook that it had really made him feel a lot better and restored his faith in humanity. I'll actually go find, and that's kind of a hard thing to feel when you're going through something as shitty as cancer, to actually feel, he's got peace of mind and a restored faith in humanity. I've never felt so humbled. Thank you all so much. Was one of his messages to us and to the community. All right, okay.
I'm gonna roll
we're
this
gonna stop
before
talking
we all
about
get
this.
sad and start
let's
crying
not all
about
cry on live TV, but fuck cancer and let's do this. Who is going to win the Orthrus? You need to be a follower. You get a bonus to win any of our giveaways. Sometimes we give away Eve stuff. Sometimes we give away game keys. Sometimes we hope to soon be giving away, coffee mugs and the like.
I want one. Okay, I'm gonna roll.
All right, let's do it.
You are
Do we have
or Big Nag.
Is
You are
Avalax still
winner.
making swag?
I think he does.
Okay.
Pardon?
Who won? What was his name?
Big Nag.
Big Nag. Okay, guys. So whenever you win anything from us, you need to send us a message on Twitch on this channel to themittani.com. Not type it in Twitch chat, but send an actual message to the channel with your Eve player name, and take a look at that. And we will get it contracted to you as soon as you ping us. If you don't send us a message, we will not give you what you won. So make sure you don't screw that up. Little details like that.
Yes, small details.
And
So
let's give away something else on a lighter note. Let's do.
I thought we were gonna do 2 Arthuses.
We are the next thing we're
Okay.
gonna give away. I'm thinking of the keyword.
Okay.
Let's do Jovians. I just typed it in Twitch chat. All one word, lowercase, Jovians, plural, Jovians. Type that in, make sure you're a follower or you can't win. If you're a subscriber, you will be much more likely to win because we love you and thank you for supporting the channel and our little community.
And I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, probably around 1 p.m. US Eastern. Probably do some H1Z1 and other stuff and just do the Sub Sunday thing. We tried to do it last week, and we were going for about an hour, and then my internet went out. So
I tried to play H1Z1 for all of like 5 minutes, and I made a character and I was looking around and I was like, I don't like this, it's scary, I'm leaving, bye. That was my H1Z1 experience. I hate scary
There's
games.
not many zombies in the game right now. It's more about PvP and H1Z1 than zombies at the moment.
Wasn't that what DayZ was like though?
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of got that similar balance. They've been updating it pretty regularly. I'll probably be streaming a lot more myself as well because I'm going to be an involuntary bachelor for 3 months starting on Tuesday. My wife is actually going abroad to study for 3 months. And so I will be alone in my house with my dog, and I'll probably be streaming pretty much constantly, assuming that we can get away from my webcam abruptly crapping out, or Skype disagreeing with us, or the internet gods abruptly deciding that I can't be on the internet. It's always interesting. You never know what exact different and strange problem is going to cause technical issues with us here on the Meta Show. But it does seem to be,
Yeah.
we have variety at least, right? Like,
Right.
this time Skype is screwing up. Last time, yeah, who knows?
So someone asked, when am I going to defect to the CSC? I don't know. Right now I'm just kind of going around in low-sec trying to relearn how this game works, which went really badly yesterday. It was so bad. So maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to low-sec roam, even though I hate low-sec more than life. So I don't have any plans to join anymore.
Trala, we could probably do that. If Mittani would like to play some EVE Online, I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and I usually do a lot of roaming PvP. Like last Tuesday, myself at least ran off, and a couple other people went out roaming. So maybe we can get Mittani and Nystrik on, and we'll go roaming sometime this coming week.
Well,
Yeah,
gentlemen, I would actually love to do that. I figured out what happened with my net, which is interesting. So I periodically get these, like, just for 1 second, my net cuts out and then comes back on, which is what caused us issue on the Meta Show a couple of weeks ago. And apparently, my webcam is working just fine. I can see it on my Skype here. But apparently, Charter deciding to cut me off for just a second meant that Skype wouldn't re-accept my webcam.
You may need like a non-rented modem.
I'm serious. I don't rent my modem, but I'm seriously thinking about swapping ISPs to AT&T here. I have only 2 options. Please, Google Fiber. Holy crap.
Yes, I want Google Fiber.
Oh
now.
my god,
Give
we
it
need
to me.
Fios. Please, please,
Okay,
please.
I'm gonna roll this. I'm gonna roll
All right.
this other Orthrus.
For Jovians.
Pixel Sarge, a follower and a subscriber. You have won.
Wonderful, Pixel Sarge. I'm glad that your subscription has provided you a direct benefit. Go ahead and make sure to contact us on Twitch with a message and let us know you're Eve guy, and we will send you an Orthrus. You might not think the Orthrus is the sexiest ship in the world, in which case you are wrong. It is beautiful and perfect, and more importantly, it is a murder boat, and you will be able to violence many spaceships with it. I think that brings us to the end of the show, unless anybody has random questions and answers that random questions they want to mash in chat. I don't think we did a Q&A this time around, did we?
Well,
We just went straight.
Questions, and no one was really saying anything. And we were just speculating about Jovians. So.
We were just kind of doing all the Jovian all the time stuff. All right. All right, boys and girls. Well, thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with a new and different and fascinating technical problem, which we cannot predict.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen here on the Meta Show, but
Or perhaps we'll start on time.
Yeah, exactly.
If,
Maybe we can start on time. Laz might even find his pants.
Maybe.
So.
We'll see. If you guys, from this week, if you guys really do have questions that you really, really, really need answered, because we're, ending the stream here, you could send them to me on Twitter, and I'll write them down, and hopefully we'll tackle them next week before we start the show, if that's okay with everyone else.
Well, I mean, I don't have to get off now. I mean, if you guys want to do like 5 minutes of questions or 10 minutes of questions, then I mean.
Well, I personally need
you have
to
to go. Okay.
Yes. So.
Okay.
All right. We will cover it next week. Feel free to hit us up with anything that you've got. We will compile the questions. We'll run them. You can also send me an Eve mail on the Mittani if you have questions at any time, or if you'd like to see me write about something or stream something. We're easy to get in touch with via Eve mail or by messaging Twitch. And thank you very much. We will see you next week and probably on streams between now and then.
Bye, guys.
Right.